Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Ace back with yet another Madden 20 Alphabet head-to-head online gameplay. Today we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the teams in free agency that have been making a lot of moves, so we have plenty to cover before I even talk about the offense and the defense side of the ball. But let's get into the breaking news. As of today, Nick Foles has been traded to the Chicago Bears. I mean, crazy to think about. The Jaguars got rid of him so early into his Jaguars career, but they hit it off with Gardner Minshew, who took the NFL world by storm last year. It was definitely one of the better moves of the draft last year. I mean, they pretty much found their future at quarterback. He really isn't that bad, and it's going to be crazy to see how much potential he has and how much better he's going to get over the years. But that is the first move that they made in free agency. Definitely a big one. It kind of shook the NFL world a little bit because now the Chicago Bears have a starting quarterback in Nick Foles, and Jacksonville is pretty much rebuilding at this point. So definitely a big trade to start the week. But in other news, before we get into any other rumors and trades, I want to talk about one of their signings, Joe Sherbert, who, if that's even how you pronounce that last name, he is definitely one of the more underrated linebackers in the NFL. Not only did he lead the league in tackles a few years ago, but I mean, he was definitely one of the bigger pieces of the Cleveland defense. And now he goes to Jacksonville and is paired up with Josh Allen on the D-line, and he's got Telvin Smith at linebacker helping him out. So that's insane. Definitely a good pickup by the Jaguars. A little confusing, though, because if you're in a rebuilding state, you kind of don't make a signing like this. But at the same time, you never know. They definitely could feel like they can contend. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And it's like another reason why it's pretty confusing. They just traded Calais Campbell to the Baltimore Ravens for a 7th-round pick. I know he's a little old, but like that move, in my opinion, I mean, it wasn't that good. I don't understand why. I guess at this point it's just, they're going to let Josh Allen do his thing on the D-line. So I guess I understand that aspect of it. But getting a 7th-round pick in return, I mean, to be honest with you guys, Calais Campbell has been doing his thing. Definitely one of the better defensive ends in the NFL, and he's a vet, so it's definitely a great player to have on your team. So that's why I guess it's a little confusing for me. You never know. Jaguars fans, let me know if you like that move down in the comment section below. But as of right now, I really don't know what to label it. But now, moving on from the trade kind of scene, basically, there has been a lot of rumors around the defensive end of the Jaguars, Yannick, however you say his last name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but the man is an absolute beast. I read something the other day. Definitely one of the more underrated young talents in the NFL on the D-line. He has had 37.5 sacks since he came into the league 4 years ago. Just blew my mind when I read that stat. I mean, you really don't hear a lot of players, like talented players, going around in free agency. But then again, this year there's just been all this like crazy stuff going on in the NFL, and this is just one of those moves that is just really mind blowing. But he does want out of Jacksonville, so it does make sense for them to trade him. They are giving him what he wanted, and hey, they can get a 1st-round pick, and there has been rumors of them wanting a 1st-round pick in return for him. I believe they franchise tagged him, so his salary is pretty hefty, but he's definitely worth the 1st-round pick, and none other than my Philadelphia Eagles have been linked to Yannick. And honestly, I mean, I would not mind that trade whatsoever as an Eagles fan. But as a Jaguars fan, let me know what you guys think of that rumor down in the comment section below. Do you guys think it's good or bad? And do you like what the GM is doing with the Jaguars? Anyways, let's move on to the analysis of their offense and their defense. We're going to start off with the defense because that's kind of a little bit of a more easier topic for the Jaguars. They're making all these moves. They got rid of Calais Campbell, as we mentioned already. They signed Joe Sherbert, if that's how you pronounce his last name. Their defense, I mean, I don't know, man. Like a couple years ago, they were in the wild card. They almost made it to the Super Bowl. I remember the Patriots took them down. It's really interesting to see how far they've come since that season. They traded Jalen Ramsey. They just traded A.J. Bouye. That defense, I mean, like, not to sound like that guy, but, like, their defense has really fallen apart. I guess you could say that they're rebuilding, but it's really hard to see. I mean, if they get another first-round pick, for Yannick, then, hey, I mean, I guess you could say the GM is doing a good job. But as of right now, I mean, I'm not a Jaguars fan, so I can't really tell. But make sure to leave a comment, Jaguars fans. Let me know what you guys think. But that's pretty much it covering the defense. I mean, their secondary is completely fallen apart. The linebacking core is definitely one of the better young cores in the NFL, in the league today, as a matter of fact. And, I mean, they're just going to keep getting younger, and it's also a good and it's also a bad thing. I mean, people thought that they were ready to pretty much contend a couple of years ago, even coming into last year. They signed Nick Foles in the offseason. They thought they were going to be a contender, but that's it for the defense. Let's talk about their offense. Honestly, their offense is one of the more dynamic offenses in the league. Definitely one, I mean, I wouldn't say underrated, but, I mean, they do get the respect they deserve. You've got none other than the Minshew mania at starting quarterback. Definitely, like, it's crazy to see a player of his caliber. I mean, the man, he went from being a late-round draft pick to now being the future of the Jaguars. Crazy to see. I remember, like, just watching, like, pre-draft stuff. I mean, they were really high on this kid since his Washington State days, and it's crazy to see how much he's translated already to the NFL. I mean, a lot of people didn't really believe he was going to be able to translate this easily and this smoothly, but, I mean, he is proving people wrong. He came into the league right away and just absolutely dominated, and it's crazy to see. Now, moving on to the other aspects of the offense. I mean, DJ Chark at receiver. LSU, bro. Like, they always come out with these receivers. It literally leaves me speechless. That's why in this year's draft, somebody like Justin Jefferson is one of the more underrated prospects, in my opinion. They always produce good cornerbacks and always produce really good wide receivers. So it's going to be crazy if Jacksonville can somehow land Justin Jefferson. I think that would be an underrated pick for them, just to get that offense a little more, smoother. Other than that, the O-line is pretty decent. It's not nothing crazy, nothing too special. But, I mean, hey, then you got my main man, Leonard Fournette. Definitely, I mean, I'm using the word underrated a lot, but hey, I mean, Leonard Fournette, if you guys watch his LSU days, he was an absolute tank, and in the NFL, he's just an absolute beast too. The only thing that's really wrong with him is the fact that he's very injury prone, so that's kind of a knock on him, but that's all I really have for the Jaguars. I mean, it's kind of hard to see them going anywhere, so my overall analysis, it's going to be a couple of years, Jaguars fans. I mean, nobody really sees them making any noise unless they hit it off in the draft this year. Who knows? They could be contenders. That's just how the NFL works nowadays. But that's all I have for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.